Добрый вечер. Меня зовут Abdul Mateen Sahibjan. И мне очень приятно, что вы пригласили меня здесь. А мы здесь сидим и говоримся. Смотри. Я путешествовал в Россию, а там я учился на магистратуру инновационное предпринимательство. А потом я вернулась в Пакистане, и все. Is that enough?
That's
because nobody actually says suka blyak in Russia, because if you say that, people definitely know that you're a foreigner. then they take you out and then they send you to the gulag.
They send you to the gulag to respawn and fight another guy.
Yeah, something like that.
That terminology has become very popular. The gulag ever since that stupid game came out.
Yeah,
you know the one.
I think Stalker.
No, Call of Duty.
Okay.
Because in Call of Duty you die and you go to the gulag to respawn or something like that.
Wrong gaming, because in Quetta, we played real Call of Duty. sorry, I get a bit dark sometimes. I'm wearing a white mask, but I get really dark. Sorry. Yeah.
Man, I have never been a part of something this surreal. I've never spoken to a guest that looks as intimidating but also as welcoming as you. And this is a good experience for me because I have no idea what your facial expressions are. And usually that's very important for me. So
usually people get thrown off hook by the horns, but they're not my strongest part.
I have some too, so it's fine. It's not the horns, it's the white face. It's the extremely white face and the yellow jaundice-like eyes and the beautiful golden teeth like you're a rapper.
Who knows, next time maybe maybe Omar, Bilal or Azim Sani, this might be their look, on their ramps and shit. Fashion evolves.
Yeah. I feel like this is, with masks, this is what we're heading towards.
Yes.
In a COVID-friendly world.
In a COVID-friendly world with Hukumat Pakistan ke SOPs.
Yes. And actually, they've done a great job with the vaccine, except I want to get my second one and I can't now. So that kind of sucks. But apparently I can. Per Umar Fasi is nodding, thanks. I'll get it. But demons don't need vaccines, bro.
I don't think so. But what demons do need? Probably Johnny and Jugnu. Only Lahori demons.
You're referring to the police officers, aren't you? Who beat up those guys at Johnny and Jugnu. That was pretty fucked up, by the way.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's just the kind of shit that I'm so numbed out by now. I'm like, man, so police officer, went beyond what his, mode of authority is and actually beat someone up for not giving them extra service. Of course that happened. Why am I surprised?
I'm more surprised by the fact that I thought those police people, those special police officers, were from Islam, but because burger khane aaye. Those are some burger police wale.
This one time I was in Islamabad for doing. This is the best Islamabadi jugat I've ever heard, right?
Okay.
I love Islamabad to death, by the way. It's my favorite city in the country, even more than Lahore. I shouldn't say that.
I agree. Yeah,
but it's my favorite. I don't know why. And shout out Hassan bin Shaheen. He's a comedian from Karachi now. Shout out. Where he used to be a debates coach. And we were at a Head Start tournament or something. And I don't know, somebody was like, oh yaar, aise na kari yaar, phadda ho jayega or something. Or I don't know what the context was. Somebody said phadda ho jayega. Hassan bin Shaheen goes, yaar, I'm Islamabad mein. Kya hoga? Yeah, my drivers will beat your drivers' ass, the fucking burgers that apparently they are. I never got that, but Islamabad, I always feel like don't mess with somebody because पीछे से दो डाले एकदम से आ सकते हैं, कैपिटल से बंदा है, उसके अब्बू ये है.
I mean, I would categorize Islamabadis into two categories. One is the one that you mentioned, these dale.
Yeah.
And then there is
excellent. Yeah.
Whoop, whoop. And then there is people from Team Fight Fortress.
I love them.
Because those people will send you to the bad parts of the hospital, the parts where you don't want to be, ER, fractures, dementia. So yeah,
I love Team Fight Fortress.
I think Team Fight Fortress was I vibed with them. I shouldn't be saying this as well on camera. It's really bad on my part.
Yeah.
But I bonded with Team Fight Fortress more than my own team.
Okay.
And I think my own team was like in an anime, there's this dude, and there's this girl, and then there's another girl, and the third girl gets really jealous, and my team was the third girl. They used to get really jealous, like, Oni-chan, you can't go to TFF, kawaii desune. Like every time I used to be like, okay guys, I'm gonna hang out with Team Fighter, they were like, Yamero! This is just like, cry like rivers, like, Yamero! Yeah, like I vibe with them more, so like.
No, I get that, and I think on that, what minute are we on?
I was just about to interrupt you guys.
And on that note, I think it's a very good
For a
time.
face review.
Yeah, I think it's time for the face review. Dean. You want to go first? Yeah.
I'll go first.
People know who you are.
Yeah, I know people who know. I know.
So, okay.
Drum roll. Looking slick, my man. Okay, give me 1 second. Nobody cares about this face review. Everybody knows. Oh, that was probably really bad. My hair probably didn't flow the way I thought it would.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do I look alright? Oddly enough, now I feel like I want to wear the mask every time now. What? Soundness about. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, you get that zip. Please hold while we readjust our wardrobes. Mateen, nice jacket, man.
Thanks, man.
Are you gonna show them the t-shirt now?
Yeah,
nice.
like I'll. Oh, thank God.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Bring it out. Bring those sleeves out, homeboy.
Yes, queen.
My friend, officially welcome and thank you for coming.
So do I go under?
Under for sure. Yeah, there we go.
You want to know something really interesting about like
Yes,
Russian superstitions?
please.
So like you should never say goodbye like under a door. Like if there's like a door, right? You shouldn't ever say like goodbyes under like the doorway. It's bad luck. So you should be either inside the room or completely outside, but never in between the door. That's like 1,000 years of bad luck in Russia. Yeah, that's non-negotiable.
But why? Did you ever explore why?
Yeah, like I don't know, like Russian people are like super superstitious. Like they're like they're super orthodox.
Yeah.
And they also have this like some pagan beliefs from back when they were like old Slavic people, and like they were like this. So there's like this there's this concept in Russian, Dimavik. So Dimavik is like a grandfather kind of demon ghost which lives in your house.
Jinpachi Mishima.
Yeah. No, but he's like less romantic. Like he seems something like a coked up lawn gnome, grown up, not gnome anymore.
Not a gnome, but
a tall, beardy, coked up lawn gnome, which is not gnomey.
Not anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, and like he lives in every person's house. Like he shifts with your family if you shift to another house, and if you're bad people, he's gonna do bad things to like just like annoy you, bad energies, and like. But he's not like Santa. He doesn't want cookies and milk.
What
like,
does he want?
Like I think vodka and some pickles.
Well, definitely some pickles with
Yes.
support. When did you move? Not move, but when did you first go to Russia?
In February 2018, and that was a funny story because I wanted to go to Germany,
Right.
and like something just did not, like God was like, listen, this is not your thing. And I applied in the German embassy, and they were like, no, you should apply next year because our deadline is close and you're too early. And I was like, nigga, what you on?
Yeah. Why don't you just let me go?
Yeah, and like then I applied in the Polytech University of St. Petersburg. So like my university's name is like a Britney song. Like so the official name of my university is Peter the Great St. Petersburg Polytechnic University. In Russian it's Санкт Петербургский политехнический университета Petra Velikova Первого. That's like a damn like you can't even like on our degree, like it's like a whole damn line. I'm like, damn, ain't no employer. That's why I'm not getting a job. They're like, nope. Yeah, so I went there and I did my master's in innovation and entrepreneurship.
Brilliant.
And that was a very interesting experience. Like a lot of people don't go there because they're like, I don't want to like really personally attack anyone, either in this room or like outside this room. When it comes to like education, like they go like, oh, UK chale jao, oh, London chale jao, like QMUL chale jao, and like Cardiff University chale jao, and go to America, go to Germany, and like of course. I didn't want to do that. I'm like, I've never been that kind of person like who does like what everybody else is doing.
For sure.
Clearly.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is it. I was a boy who did not know anything. St. Petersburg is not like a city where like a lot of people speak English. Like that's Moscow.
Yeah.
But I went there as a boy, and I came back as a semi-boy, like a wee bit of a man. I went there like so it was like, I think the winter, it was February's winter, and like I think what's the usual temperature of winter in Lahore, like 10 degrees?
Yeah, at best if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Like agar fit scene, dust.
And overnight, like from the plane, like the next day I go out of the airport and it's like -20. So like I had like a big jump, and I saw like knee deep snow. I was like, oh, damn, this is not what I signed up for. And like my tutor, Anton, he wasn't really like of much help, because he just came and he was like, okay, now what's your name? Abdul Mateen. Mateen. Like, I was like, Abdul Mateen. Mateen. I take you back to Abshaga, okay? Like, what? Abshaga. It's dormitory. Like, oh goddamn.
I was like, Abshaga.
I was like, so then he took me back, and I put my luggage, and I met some Americans, and like my roommate. I never liked my roommate.
Okay. Fair. I don't think in the history of mankind, most people probably don't like their roommate. Like,
no,
just annoyed.
I just didn't like this particular roommate because he was a bit of a knobhead. Like, he was like a spoiled kid from Slovakia who lived in The Hague, Netherlands, and like he was like a bit of a prissy, but nobody in the dorm liked him. So and I tried my best to like this guy, but nobody in the dorm never liked him. So I left my luggage, and I told Anton, so I'm hungry, I want to buy something. And like he took me to this like chalk kind of place, like this X kind of chalk kind of place. So it's like a metro station called Ploshchad Muzhestva. And it was snow, and it was dark, and it was gray, and it was snowing again. And I was like, okay, you go straight, then left, and you go straight again, and on left is store. It took me an hour to find like what could have been like just simple directions. It took me an hour to find a grocery store.
I can imagine.
Like, and I only found it because there were like bananas in the display. I was like, ain't no Ralph Lauren having no damn bananas in their like display. And like I bought like Pepsi Cola and like noodles, classic.
Yeah, of course. Dorm special.
And the next day was the orientation for like the first batch. Yeah. And true to my Pakistani heritage, I was late. Half an hour.
That is.
Everybody was angry.
Has to be done. Yeah. I went to Ireland in 2013 because I was really young. It was 2003, first time ever. Like the headmistress of my school when I was in LGS Phase 5, which is quite a school, huh? Yeah, Fussy went there as well. We don't like that place. But my headmistress at the time was like, "Beta, aapne debates karni hai." I was like, I want to do it. But anyway, she forced me into it. I did it. I turned out to be pretty decent at it. I never thought I would be, but I was pretty good. And then I ended up making the Pak team first year, 03, which is like O levels 30. I went to Ireland. And Ireland was just nuts. Like, that was the first time I was ever stepping foot out of the country, and you know, the first time I saw a foreign person who's not typically a Pakistani. It was incredible. But we had to go to this place every day from our dormitory to the auditorium where they would announce the matchups. Then we had to go find our rooms for the matchups. Simple instructions to be there 9:30, right? I don't know why. It's not even a Pakistani thing. It's just a thing. We were late every single day up till the 15th day. It was a month-long tournament. The 15th day, we enter the thing like all like scattered, like my coat's in my hand, my bag, and my teammates are like, oh, fuck. I mean, even my coaches are like, oh, we just made it. And it's like dead silence. And we're like, what? And then like we realize everybody's looking at us. And I shit you not, this entire auditorium starts clapping for us. Like, you know, just like applaud, standing ovation. I'm like, what the hell? And like, I'm like soaking it in. I'm like, thank you, keep it. And my coach is like, put your hand down, stupid. And then they announce like, Team Pakistan is finally here. And then they applaud some more. And we were never late the day after that.
That must have been embarrassing.
Oh, it was the worst, man. And that was when I learned, I'm like, why did they make such a big deal out of it? But apparently we're universally just known to be late. Not just us, but Indians, Bangladeshis, South Asians.
Asians.
I wonder if that's like some kind of recovering, like generational trauma or something that we're trying to get over as like, or we're just lazy. I think it's just the latter.
That and the tea drinking and like the what's it called? What's that thing called? Like obsession with the white skin. Like, so I believe, and this like, I think I've come to terms with it. So the people who really have this idea of like, you know, hating your masters and like anti-colonialist kind of like, I think they have the worst Stockholm syndrome because like I have that. I really don't like tea. I really don't like going to London or the UK.
Yeah.
But I also like white people really nice. So like, yeah, like I'm coming clean.
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
It is what it is. Man.
And I think so. I was talking about this beforehand. I wanted to like kind of get into it when we start the podcast and everything. I want to ask you about more about Russia for sure, but I think we'll get into that in just a bit because you did learn some tricks over there. I think you did like spend some time on the mats in Russia,
I did.
Which is like the breeding ground for some of the best like fighters in the world right now. So I want to definitely, but let's take you back a little bit. What was your first encounter with martial arts ever?
So when I was in my school, it was an army school, Ikra Army Public School in Quetta. And I think at a certain grade, like I think it was 7th grade, they had given us this list of activities which you could do, like flower arrangement or like basketball, football, chess. Like they were just trying to add some sports. Yeah. Then there was like martial arts. And I was like, hold up. I was like a little kid now, hold up. and I picked that, and it was like Taekwondo. Uh-huh. And our teacher was like, he was not so keen on being on time and like imparting a lot of knowledge because for him was just like, kids. And I was sort of good at it. Like I wasn't like a gifted athlete. Yeah. But I did work hard, and like I got to my like orange belt, and like then like I got out of that school, and I wasn't allowed to like go to other gyms because like Quetta was not a pleasant place back then. Like so my father was like really protective, and he was like, I don't want you leaving this house for like random stuff. I got you. So then I suffered there, but I kept like researching different kinds of like martial arts. Like I was really into Japanese systems of martial, like so Judo, ninjutsu, kendo, aikido, and then when I came to Lahore, so that's where so from Taekwondo starts my like martial arts journey, and then like I used to watch a lot of like movies like Kickboxer, like from Van Damme. Never Back Down, Yuri Boyka, a lot of like so, but I didn't watch a lot of like traditional boxing movies like
Rocky?
Raging Bull and
Rocky.
I'm still not like such a good boxer even till this date. Like I don't watch any of the Mayweather fights or anything. Right. I'm more into like kickboxing because I believe like 8 limbs is better than 2. Yeah. Fair. So then like my fascination grew with Yuri Boyka, and then I went to like Old Lahore near King Edward, the medical college, and then there was like a poster of Brock Lesnar with them gloves that you have there with Brave Gym. Yeah. And I was like, what is that? Why is Brock Lesnar on a poster with small ass gloves? Yeah. And I bought that poster and I put it in my room, and then I started researching the UFC, and then I started like MMA Pakistan, and that's how I came to Synergy on the fight night with a bunch of like I'll take you back. Please. How it started in Lahore. So I came from Quetta to Lahore to study because like our A-level teachers weren't so good. I mean, I think weren't so good is an understatement. They sucked ass. And my father was like, this is not no.
And then he sent me to Lahore. He was like, "Tum aa jao padho." Okay. And I studied, and then my parents were like, "Ab tum na doctor bano." And then I failed that test. They were like, "Tum wapas jao, LSE jao," because girls.
Yeah.
And I went there, and like my friend, who is like my best friend now since like 8 years or 9 years, and like he was like, "Oh, meri fight hai." I was like, "Kis cheez ki fight hai? Kya like padda hai?" "Nahi, nahi, meri fight hai. Boxing ki fight hai." I was like, "Fit? Mujhe bhi le chalo." And I went there, and like I don't know how us time ke andar like Kareem, Uber, kuch bhi nahi tha. Like you had this. I'm talking about 2011, 12, 13.
When it was first starting.
Yeah, it was
Because
like
Bashir landed around 2011, and there was MMA before
Yeah,
that
it was
in Gujar Khan and Islamabad,
yeah.
but not in Lahore.
Yeah, not in Lahore.
Yeah, go on.
So I consider myself the second generation of MMA because the first was Bashir Ulumi, Coach at Sham.
Yeah.
What's
Jaleel
his name? Jaleel.
in Pakido.
Yeah, and some guys from like Karachi, and like these are like the
Avesha,
founders.
Ahmed Bilal,
Avesha.
yeah, these guys.
So these were the founding members, and then we were directly underneath these people. We were the first students of these people, like or so. And I came to that gym, I don't know how miraculously. I was like, oh, it's in a basement, of course. And at that time, I don't know if you know Shahryar Qureshi.
Yeah, of course I know Shahri, yeah.
And he came up to me, he was
Shahri
like,
Jitsu.
yeah, he was like, tumne ladna hai? And I was like, sure. Like, so my friend already fought. He fought, like my friend Sheikh Ahmed, he fought Ali Ahmed, the referee guy.
Oh.
And Ali Ahmed like busted his shoulder. Like Ali Ahmed like big.
Is it Sheikh Daniel Ahmed?
No, it was Sheikh Muhammad Ahmed, his older brother, like the bodybuilder guy.
Oh, he used to box as well?
Yeah, he was really into boxing.
Crazy.
And Ali Ahmed doctored him. Like he went big chinky on him. Like you know how big he is, like a big.
I didn't know Ali Ahmed boxed.
Like Ali Ahmed went full MMA, big chinky on him. Like all the Japanese spirits and everyone like was funneled their power into him, and like he busted his shoulder.
Whoa.
And landed him in an RNC.
Oh.
Yeah, and like uske baad there was this other fight, and like Shahryar was like, "Do you want to fight?" I was like, "Yes." And then I put on the gloves, and I fought like someone really smaller than me. I don't know. I think he was desperate just to fight.
Uh-huh.
And that was the first time I fought like a retard on bath salts. And I was just swinging, and like this guy, he didn't do much.
Yeah.
I just got out of breath, and Bashir was like, "You're done." Like, you know, with this like really strong American accent, like,
You're done.
You're done.
Yeah.
And then, so we were kind of poor back then, क्योंकि अब्बू ज़्यादा पैसे नहीं देते थे. So what we used to do was like, so Bashir had this system: you fight, and then I train you for free for 2 weeks. So we didn't come for training. We used to fight so that we used to get trained. We didn't have the money to train.
Right.
So we used to just fight, get our faces busted, just so we could train under him. And like sometimes I used to walk from Bhatta Chowk till the old Synergy in the basement because I didn't have the money for the rickshaw, and like I couldn't afford like stuff. And I fought like 3 smokers like this. I think I lost all of them. I think I won 1 smoker. It was against a guy from Sahiwal. He was like a boxer, and like at that time, like Wakar and Snowbird, they really like polished me in Muay Thai, and like I just like went Barbosa on that kid.
Nice.
Like that kid at one point he just like turned and he was like just Oni-chan no more datba yamero. And so then Bashir like renovated the gym, and we became his like proper students.
Right. So you're the first batch of his students.
Like I'm like you could say like I'm one of the first original batches of Bashir's students.
I wouldn't count Wakar and people in his
I think
batch
Wakar was his prodigy. Was a star student. But we were his students regardless. We trained in the same team and like in the same league.
Yeah, of course.
And like at that time it was like Synergy versus TFF. So, you know, red and blue or like.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the analogies of them being the third person in the love triangle kind of makes sense as well. Because if it's just Synergy versus TFF, and then if you like, but then also, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not really, like even now at pro MMA, it's such a high level. People like hop gyms, go and train places. It's like, you know what? Plus, why was it like, can you run me through that? Like at that time, what was, so, okay, we've come up to Synergy, right?
Yes.
And that you're an amazing storyteller, by the way. I'm very happy.
Thank you.
No, honestly, like I'm enjoying this podcast so much already. But we've come to Synergy. You're in the first bat. You fought your first smoker without any real MMA training.
Nothing.
And I feel like, now sitting here, this is making me go like, oh man, that sounds kind of, and I'm sure a lot of people listening as well probably going like, oh, that sounds kind of barbaric or like, kind of unregulated or unsafe. But that's okay if that's kind of the state of the sport at the time. Like you have to kind of put people into fights and make them fight to get them to keep fighting. And it's not like nobody forced you into that position. Something inside you said, okay, I just saw my friend fight, get beat up by Ali Ahmed.
Chinky.
Big Chinky, but fuck it, I'm gonna put these gloves on and I'm gonna get in there. So it's completely your choice in any case. But do you look back at that thinking like, oh, I wish things were different, or there was something which might have been done differently, or was it just like, that's just how things were back then?
I mean, so my first fight was no mouth guard, no head guard, and 4-ounce gloves. Like there was no safety precautions, no crotch guards, no nothing. And so this is what I could tell you. FA1, that was the first proper tournament where international, of course, Afghanistan counts as international because it's not from Pakistan.
Yeah.
So people from Afghanistan came, and like it was the first proper fighting alliance one, and everyone from Synergy was fighting. Mind you, like apart from Vakar, like everybody got steamrolled that night.
Yes.
Because the Afghanis, so like what they do is like they on paper they really love to lie.
Yeah.
So, but I was supposed to fight someone from, do you know this dude named Ashfaq Jat?
Yeah.
Like I was supposed to fight his disciple,
right?
And his disciple just pulled a big Houdini on me, and like he just like Houdini'd.
Yeah.
And this Afghan dude came, and Bashir took me like an hour outside from where everybody was like warming up. He was like, okay, Mateen, you have two choices. You can fight this dude. He's like 4 years MMA experience, but he's the wrestling coach of Afghanistan, of the Afghan national wrestling team. Or you could have this dude who's like a striker, like 7 years of striking experience and 3 years of MMA experience. I was like, damn, you're not giving me a lot to work with here, coach. Like that. Whoa, like, like this is like a mutton versus palau thing. Like, and I hate both. I really hate both. And I just hate rice. And like I picked the wrestling dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, how bad could it be? Match starts. This dude shoots a double leg from literally the other end of the ring. Like it was like he Supermaned into me, and 1 minute I'm here, and the next minute something is between my legs. Not talking about my PP. Well, this dude is. I'm like, this is illegal. And then at that time, like I was really at the first time in my life, I felt nothing in the sense like my mind went blank. I have no memory of that fight. I just remember I got him into a triangle. I was trying to finish the triangle. I was focusing on the wrong part. Instead of like pulling his head down, I was working on the legs. Like, okay, the legs are fine. Like, when you make that triangle, you lock the legs.
Yeah.
I was focusing on the legs and his arm rather than his head. And this dude Batista bombed me thrice. Thrice. And at that time I was like, is this really the quality of life I want to live? And like my father was like in Lahore, and like he didn't know about my MMA career. And like I was like, do I really want to go back with a battered face just to be banned from MMA for life? Like, so I gave up. And I got a lot of shit from it for like a lot of people. And I was like, sure, fair. I admit that. But everybody got steamrolled that night. And so I was like, it's not just me. It was like really, really bad how it was. And then like that's how, like, so I believe, I think Bashir could have like given us, or specifically me, a better can to start with. But it is what it is. Like it happened like, it taught a lot.
And I think, and this is credit to marketing as well, but also a kind of a drawback that comes with it. But if you go back to that, and I was I wasn't involved in MMA at that time. I remember you and I actually had an encounter in the same gym that you were talking about, the basement. I think I told you about this the other day, but you don't remember this. I was a really very young kid. I was in like 02. Like this is before when I told you about 03 in Ireland debates. This was literally weeks before that, before I got selected for the national team. And then I was like, okay, let's stop MMA. Because I started training MMA right before the selection happened. So I would be coming at least for a month or so. And I remember we were having this wrestling class where we were all in a circle and we had to like just roll around. I remember I came in and there was this one guy who was kind of new. I think it was my friend. I kind of tipped him over like a cow. And then Coach Okar was like, okay, point to you. The other guy's out. And then you came in, tatted up and everything. I think this was probably a little after you already started because you were very good. The German suplexed me across the gym. That was fun. So sorry. No, that was fun. That was one of the best things. Like, cause everybody was like, oh! And then when I like kind of came to, I didn't get knocked out or anything, but when I was like, whoa, that was one of the coolest things that I've been. I shit you not, because I have never been tossed like that. And when I landed, and when I was like, okay, I'm perfectly fine, I can keep doing this. But at that time, so my point of giving that story is that I was also kind of around MMA at the time, but I was more of like a younger, just like observer of sorts, and I was processing things that were happening in PakMMA, but my knowledge was very limited naturally, because the only thing I would know about MMA is that there's this guy who runs in the sector that I live in, because the gym is also in the sector, right?
In the sector,
yeah. So, and I would just see him running around those gorilla paw shoes, right? Who is that guy?
Weird shoes, man.
Yeah, I'd be like, who is that guy? And that's Bashir. And then I would go up and look up MMA in Pakistan or just fighting in Pakistan. And I would, same thing. And then from that day till, I would say a year into covering the sport, my perception of Bashir was that he is some, God-sent kind of guy who fixed MMA for all of us here and then had to leave and everything. And it's only now that I realize that Bashir is human, you know what I mean? And this is what I kind of want to get across. These days, people online, I don't know if you're following, there's a hashtag federation struggle going on PakMMA with SAG, SA Gardens who want to start their own federation with the local grassroots club like Shaheen and not exactly Spark and Flogger Series and all of these local Pakido, TFF, all of the clubs who've been doing MMA for a while. They're
established,
they're already making their own federations. It's kind of a struggle. And for some reason, Bashir's really getting the short end of the stick from it. People are really criticizing, they're almost basing the reason behind why they're launching this federation is to rectify the evils that Bashir has kind of laid out. And when I read that stuff, I'm like, this is one man that we're referring to, right? And even when we were discussing this thing of him and how, things were back in the gym that you used to go to, even then when I'm hearing this, I don't naturally think oh, he should have done better. I just think dude, this is a guy who came, from the US or wherever, and he came here and he wanted to start MMA, and he did that, and he did it to the best of his ability. Guys are doing the exact same thing that he had to do years ago. When you say paving the path, it literally means he was the first guy to kind of figure out what a regulation is, what a how to get headgear, how to get mouthpiece and all of that. I'm sure at the time the stuff isn't that well available anyway. So now when I see a lot of the bigger names in PakMMA, I don't want to take their names, but when they're smearing shit on Bashir's name, it's first of all, he's not even here. And second of all, it's what has he done to you? You know what I mean? I think he's only just done good. But yeah, I think this is true. Even the matchmaking, I'm sure he was figuring out at the time.
So a lot of people do give a lot of shit to Bashir, but what they also don't realize is that he had a family.
Yeah.
He had his own insecurities. He had his own problems understanding Pakistani people, because he came from the US and he thought he was Pakistani, but for us and for most people, he was a foreigner. And he could not really understand how Pakistanis work with their games and their sly stuff and this and that. And he used to sometimes just be so disappointed and frustrated. I used to sit with him and he's I don't know, man, how do I deal with this shit? And I was like, Bashir, this is Pakistan. So a lot of people do give him a bad name, but for me personally, he's someone who changed my life completely. So, I mean, I would never, regardless of any, that word in Urdu, gila.
Yeah.
It's like I never keep a very big gila in my heart. he could have done better. He did what for me was like the most. He took me out of something and he put me on a path, and he gave us what we needed. Like he was like, listen, Mateen, maybe you won't become like a big athlete or something, but you'll be the founding member of changing this country in terms of MMA. And so how was a kid from Quetta, like a small city in Pakistan where no, like majority of people don't even know where it is on the map. They're like, oh, aap Gilgit se to nahi? I'm like, no, Quetta, it's down south.
Yeah.
Comes to Lahore, gets touched like on a very mental level by a Pakistani American MMA fighter, and he goes on to become a Judo blue belt, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt, a Sambo grappler. I mean, that stuff doesn't just happen like randomly.
Yeah.
So Bashir did a lot for the country, and a lot of people are ungrateful because of like it just comes within.
Yeah.
Sure, like
I'm sure कुछ ना कुछ होंगी like जो गिले होते हैं. I'm sure काफ़ी ज़्यादा लोगों के दिल में वो गिले अभी भी हैं, और like from their perspective, and I'm sure even Bashir agrees with this. It's like, you know, we all wrong someone at some point in our lives. We can't let that define us, though. You know what I mean? But yeah, that was more of a side note, because this stuff, I'm just looking at it these days, it's shocking to me. It's like okay, even if you don't like the guy, even if you don't support anything that he might have done, but
just don't go out of your way to just like diss a guy like so strongly.
Exactly. And it's like, you know, they're discrediting everything he's done, and it's just sad. But ultimately, you know, I want to come back to what we were talking about. And when I said good marketing at the start of my little monologue before that, I meant like Bashir really did market himself as like the godfather of PakMMA and all, even though he wasn't necessarily the founder of MMA in Pakistan. He was, I would say he was the first regulator, where he regulated the sport and he brought it. And you were there at a time when the sport was first getting regulated or building itself. You mentioned FA1, FA2 was FA Vengeance, where we got some more Afghans and then actually evenly matched, and it was better this time. I think you also competed on FA2, if I'm not wrong.
I did not. I was...
what was the next FA you competed on?
I think it was FA3 or FA4. I really don't remember, but not FA2, because I was there as someone like helping with the event.
Right.
I was helping Ulumi.
Yeah.
I was helping a bunch of other synergy guys like Awais Raja.
Yeah.
And I think it was FA3 where I fought Behram Qasim, who sadly passed away in a motorcycle accident. And that was like my first win in MMA. Nobody really believed in me, and I Superman punched him and like just ground and pound, and then like Coach Sultan just stopped the fight, and he was like, Mateen's the winner. And after that I fought again in, I don't know, FA 5 or 6, I don't know, or 4. I fought a kid called Hamza Mehboob, and it was a very difficult fight for me because
what happened in that fight?
So when I went, so between this FA3 and this fight, I think I went to Bulgaria to fight in Combat Sambo. So I was like, I asked the federation guy, I forgot his name, Mr. Ziaur Rahman. I asked him like, so has there been any Pakistani guy before who competed in Combat Sambo? He's like, no, you're the first. And I was like, whoa, okay. So that's interesting.
That's history.
Yeah, and I
to this day
went to Team Fight Fortress. Now this Combat Sambo part is where the story gets interesting. So I told my family I want to go to Bulgaria to fight in Combat Sambo. And my father really supported me. Like for the first time in my life, he was like really supportive of my like martial arts. Usually he was like really not interested. He's like, tum footballer kyun nahi bane? I'm like, Dad, I don't want to be a footballer, please. I want to be a grappler. And he got me my ticket, he got me everything. Because federations are poor, and like of course federations are also corrupt, because what federations do is do athletes hote hain, there's 2 athletes, and the rest of them are just businessmen wanting to go on a trip. And then this happened to me. And I'm not pointing any fingers, but this is what happened. And I think logo ko ye pata hona chahiye ki federations are corrupt. it's not about the athletes.
Pause you right there. Jiu-Jitsu Federation. This is something we actually covered way back when you first
Yeah,
started. When
I think in
was on
Sarim,
board,
yeah.
And that was a crazy story for me.
Yes.
It was like just a long story short, Jiu-Jitsu Federation sends a team abroad to Australia and multiple other places. The president of the Jiu-Jitsu Federation, go look up his, I don't care what his name is. That guy decides to take like 3-4 people with him. Essentially just human trafficking. It's like you have the 2 athletes and then you have people who are either just going for the shits and giggles or just to completely migrate and never come back.
Yeah.
And then our federation's banned completely for human trafficking.
Yes.
That's just the tip of the iceberg, by the way. When you go down to wushu and like you're saying sambo and all of that, it gets much worse. But please carry on.
So
Bulgaria.
I told everyone, I talked to Bashir. So Bashir was like really like baffled like as to how to deal with the situation, because like combat sambo is a very particular sport with particular rules, like headbutts and groin shots and like the sambovka and like with shoes and like with the red and blue like uniforms and like. So I talked to Coach at the Sham and I talked to Ulumi, and they were like, I was like, Coach, what do I do? Like I'm from another team and like we have this like team problem. He was like, listen kid, shut up, get the next bus, I'll talk to Bashir. And Coach at the Sham and like Ulumi and Coach Sultan, they welcomed me with open arms. Like they gave me a place in their house.
Wow.
They gave me a place in their gym, and they trained me to the best extent 15 days before this event, because I couldn't train before that because of other personal reasons. I was sick and like my father was not in the country. I had to stay back home. And in those 15 days, my coaches promised me, you will not get knocked out. That is for sure. And they made me cut weight. They were really brutal in that. Like I cut so much weight in Bulgaria alone. But I was like texting them and they were like guiding me. But like my actual team, like there was a guy, he was a bodybuilder. He was like, oh, aapse nahi hona. You can't do this. This is too much. Like you shouldn't put yourself at risk. I was like, listen, old man, I'll prove it. They're like, oh, but how will you do it? I was like, it's just science. I took my own meals. I took every order which Ulumi and like Coach at Sam said, and like I cut, I think 7 kilos in a hotel room in Sofia, Bulgaria, in Hotel Ramada, alone in a bathtub with like broken like screws and shit. And they couldn't believe it. They were like, how? I was like, magic, bitch.
Science.
Like I did pass out in the sauna once or twice.
Oh my God.
And
alone.
Like there were a bunch of other fighters as well. And when I went to the scales, like I was like a gram or 2 above, and the big Russian dude, like, you know, like with a Brock Lesnar haircut, like big ass shoulders, he was like, niet. I was like, listen, man, 2 grams, like this is unfair. I've been cutting weight. And the other guy was like, there was like another, like, you know, like Huggy Bear looking Soviet guy was like, it's okay. Like, okay, you go. No tension. And the best part of that tournament was I saw Islam Makhachev in person. He was fighting in that tournament. Like, I didn't even know this was Islam Makhachev. And he was in front of me. He was like, Salam alaikum, brother. I was like, wa alaikum salam. And like, I didn't know this dude was Islam Makhachev.
Wow.
Like, there was like Mikhail Makhnatkin. There was like really big names.
Yeah.
Who are now fighting in Bellator or like ACB or like Fight Night. And in the UFC, I was like, damn, I was on the same mats and the same place with these fellas. Whoa.
Yeah, and that's nuts if you think about it, because
and
then they go on to like do all, and I guess it's just a tale of contrasting governments and structures and federations for sure.
I spent like such an interesting time there. Like I fought alone. I had no like corner or anybody telling me, and like I didn't even know what to do. How like so combat sambo is a very particular sport where you win by scoring points. It's not about like knocking out and whatnot. It's about like you strike twice, then you grab the gi and try to like take him down and score points. It's all about scoring points. It's not about like knocking out people.
Right.
I was trying to knock this guy out, and this guy was like a 8-time European sambo champion. Like, what was I thinking? He just took me down and he just pinned me. Wow. Like, what's happening? Like, why isn't this guy fighting me?
Yeah.
Like, I elbowed him in the face and he was like, nah, I don't care. Like, he just like pinned me. This happened to me twice or thrice, and like so the first time I lost, and then by default I went to the next category or something because I was fighting the first player. And that was an interesting time. And then when I came back, my own team didn't like that I trained in TFF. Big whoop. Like
Strange.
there's one particular person on that team who had a big problem. I don't think I should name him. He's Mahmood, by the way. And he really didn't like it. He didn't.
Mahmood. Oh, Mahmood. Mahmood, the guy who was like the ring announcer for the first FAs. Got your job, bro. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, like, the really unmanly fighter. Anyways, so yeah, like he didn't like it, and like a lot of other people didn't like it, and there was
Mahmood was Mahmood was pretty influential guy around those times.
yeah, that's just what he was. That was the only thing that he was.
Yeah.
Like that was really annoying. Like, you know, because for example, like if I want to learn editing, like I won't like teach you, right, because you know it better than me. And if I'm teaching you judo, please don't tell me like, oh, this is not right. I don't think you.
Yeah.
Shut up or do it, or
Yeah.
just like find someone else.
Exactly.
Anyways, so a huge like jealousy love triangle happened, and like I became like the centerpiece of it, and like I and after that day, I think like I slowly started like shifting away from Synergy. Like it was just bad juju.
Did that kind of push you away from the martial arts aspect of it?
Just like from my team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
like,
did it ever like put like a mental impediment that this is the kind of environment you have to operate in? Because this is stuff which I see happening now all the time as well. I think it's getting better slowly over time.
Yeah.
Like Abu Bakr the Golden Sparrow, he's one of, you know, that kid.
Yeah.
He went to train TFF. I'm sure nobody has a problem with that now. And he's from Shaheen, which is pretty much now Synergy, right? But yeah, that's really interesting, and that's unfortunate that would be the kind of reception that
and like
get.
Team Fight Fortress was never like they were like, listen, you want to come, just get a bus and train with us. We don't really care like what religion, faith, skin color, gender you are. Like we couldn't be bothered.
That's one of the first things Coach EKS ever said to me.
Yeah, like and so.
Not the come train part, just that they don't care about
it. Yeah. And that's what happened. And like then I started training sometimes because it was really hard commuting between Lahore to Islamabad, so I used to go just like sometimes there. Yeah. And that was my, and then Synergy just stopped being Synergy, just like closed.
Yeah.
Bashir had to leave, and then like Synergy closed, and then we were like,
yeah.
That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Then I went to Russia.
Right. And then there was a big vacuum in between, I think,
there was
for a lot
big
of the
vacuum.
People,
Shaheen was still there. Omar Bhai was like running Synergy Jortown.
Yeah.
Like he was literally financing that thing, and like he was like paying all of the damn fighters and picking them up in like his own V8 or like whatever that car is, that big SUV. Unko le jata tha, he used to train them. And then he erected Brave Gym, and now we're here.
Now we're here.
Like,
damn.
That's a hell of a journey, if you ask me.
Omar Bhai still does take care of the fighters, like just the same way, even though like the establishment's much bigger, the rules I think are a lot more than Synergy Johor because there's like big partners involved and everything, and you have to be super careful because you're dealing with like high-end clients now, like people who expect this to be like their training space, and you can't really, so the whole fighter aspect is really, and you know, we announced it today, so we can talk about Air by Warriors a little bit, but we announced Air by Warriors today, and just working with them so far, it's been like it's really, it really pushes me to think that we can really get some stuff done, because what you really need is a guy who's business savvy, who's done business in this country the way he has, and you need somebody who's just absolutely obsessed with PakMMA like I am, and I think we can really do. And now Brave Gym is starting to, I think people are starting to come and train there and stuff. I see a lot of old faces from Synergy, and you know, all that little bit of nostalgia. Even like even like other guys, like even the casual guys like myself, who I would see, I'm like, hey, where did we like, you know, train 6 years ago? Hey, you know, like that started happening so much now as well. It's stuff just changes so much, but what's interesting, when I had Shahid on as well, I've spoken to Bashir on the podcast as well. What interests me now is, initially when I spoke to them, that was more of the exposure I had towards what's happening in the country, as opposed to things I'd researched myself. Now it's the other way around. Like that was the context. Now I've kind of added like piles and piles of research myself to my knowledge. And what I've realized is, honestly, a lot of it is like the same regurgitated story, not just in gyms and in terms of how they interact with each other, but also fighters and how they lose out. I think the biggest travesty that's happened to the sports in this country the whole sporting arena of this country is a travesty in itself. But who's really missed out on is every single athlete in this country. I think so. You spoke very like candidly about you being a person like a little boy from Quetta who went on to be like a Judo blue belt, Jiu-Jitsu blue belt. First guy to fight Sambo, representing Pakistan internationally. And now there's like so many guys who, Ismail Khan, for example, 10-0, Cax Fight Club, amateur. But where's he going to go next? It's like, I hope things can change now, or else it's always just going to be the fighter who loses out. And people don't realize that. A lot of these coaches and gym owners, I respect the hell out of them, but they talk about, our club missed out on that, we, didn't get credit for this. But there's generations of fighters that have been wasted and wasted and wasted, man. It's just breaks my heart to see it.
Like, so my friend Fyodor, we used to call him Fadia. He was like 6'1" or 2, and like this guy was doing Sambo since the age of 5. And I said, like, why aren't you in the National Combat Sambo team? Or like, he started at the age of 6 or 7, and he said, Abdul Mateen, I am too old to try this. Like, what do you mean? To be champion in Russian national team, you have to start Samba at age 5. Like, okay. That's definitely... Whoa.
5.
Like, have you seen that meme? That white guy who's like...
yeah.
So, and this guy, by the way, like, this guy taught me all of my heel hooks, all of my scissor takedowns, all of my really complicated throws. And this dude... Fyodor heel hooked every opponent in Finland, won gold medals. He went to Lithuania, Estonia, Poland. Whoa. Like, this guy never comes back with anything lesser than like at least a silver. When he gets a silver, he's sad. Usually it's gold. He went to LA recently and he got a blue belt from Eddie Bravo. Wow. He won the Naga belt. He got the Grapplers Royale something belt. Like, this dude is like just heel hooking. Like, so this dude could heel hook, like, so this dude, Fyodor, he could heel hook Helio Gracie in a no-gi match with no arms. Like, like Fyodor would just like heel hook you with his arms back. He's so good with this stuff. Man. And like, he's like super talented, and like, and Fyodor is like, I don't know, 24,
what?
23.
What?
He's like, would say itna chota, and like, he's like younger than me, and like, so the level of people in Russia is, Daniel, so like it's mind blowing, like the kind of pool that there is, because it's such a big country. There's like your Caucasus region, like Dagestan, Chechnya, Ingushetia. Then there is like Moscow side, and then there's like Siberia, and they're like, Mateen, if you want to become champion in Pakistan, it's easier for you. For us to become champion, it's hard because we have to fight so many people. Like, you have to fight so many people who are so good just to be champion in like maybe just local St. Petersburg or local Moscow. Yeah. And when I look at them and then I look at us, and I'm like, damn, where are our champions at? And the one thing that I could tell from 2.5 years in Russia, so like everybody was like, what's the secret of Russians? Maybe it's like drugs, or maybe it's like they eat like horse meat, or like maybe there's like some have you seen that movie like Rocky jiske andar like Drago is like in that lab and they look
Rocky 4 it's like the scientist is
like
monitoring his all that.
And I asked my friends, I was like, so what are these Soviet secrets, Sovietsky секреты? They were like, nothing. Like, what do you mean, like nothing? They're like, yeah, we just like eat some corn, like this buckwheat and like meat and like just like dairy products. I was like, no, come on, that must not be the secret. Like Kung Fu Panda Scroll secret. Their secret is like, if they're having a grappling session, a 3-hour grappling session. So their warm up will be for 45 minutes. Then they'll grapple, technique, grapple. Then they'll do weights. They train so hard in minus 20 like degrees and consistently. That's why they're good. That's the secret. Like, the secret is not like, it's like Kung Fu Panda. There is no secret in the soup or whatever. Like, It's just hard training.
Yeah, it's just there's no secret scroll. It's just hard work and
Yeah.
dedication. Man, I feel like this podcast has been like such a breeze because you're such a good storyteller, Mateen. Honestly, like no, seriously, and this is just the like I want to keep going for like 3 more hours, but I don't think we can. Realistically,
I was hoping to
look at it.
like narrate some funny stuff or like some really like shenanigans, but like
But this is the way in, and
Yeah.
I felt like it would be a disservice if we didn't like talk about, because you've been around the sport from the very start, literally the
Yeah.
first like batch of students, and now when I see you like even in Brave Gym, like I always see you like teaching now, like you're
Yeah.
passing it on to younger kids, these 3WL kids especially, who, you know, for all of this the shit that they get for whatever they are and whatever they do, they're just kids who want to learn martial arts, and I feel like guys like you
Yeah.
really do make it a point to like help them out. And
I
think that's the
really try
coolest
to
thing.
teach them like because I know I was taught sometimes really badly, so I break every technique to the basic level, and like I teach them what they need and not what is fancy. Like
Yeah.
one of them will be like, oh, can you please teach me an Imanari roll? Then I ask them, okay, do the Imanari roll on me, and then I smash them.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, so this is why you don't do it.
Yeah.
Just stick to the basics.
Yeah.
Don't ask me to teach you scissors, because that is not for you right
Yeah.
now. When you're like purple belt above or like blue belt above, like you can do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, shout out to these kids. Like at least they're not just wasting time or
Yeah.
like into like drugs and all that stuff. Like they're doing something
Yeah.
with their lives, and like but they never show up on time.
Hey, facts are facts.
Yeah.
Gotta
And like
address it,
I think teaching is my calling. Like I really love to teach.
Yeah.
And I've taught like children as well.
Yeah.
I've taught adults, and I like really try to like change my judo and jujitsu like for each person, because sambo, judo, jujitsu is not the same for everyone. What
Yeah.
might work for you doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
And like I try to have that mentality, like, and I think I have this responsibility from my coaches,
Yeah.
Carlos Almeida and Majid Gilani, who graded me. And Carlos is like my professor. Like I believe in him. Like he's like my Jedi professor, like who guides me in life. And he's like, you train jiu-jitsu every fucking day, Mateen. You never stop, and you change people's lives
Yeah.
through jiu-jitsu. And I think that's what I really want to focus on. I don't like, sure, I've been like, I'm a gold medalist like multiple times. I've had a silver medal. I've had bronze medals. I've won the absolute belt, PGC absolute
Yeah,
belt.
I
I
remember
was
that.
like the first skinny guy who
With a
actually
mustache.
with a mustache and long hair, and like with a pigeon mask, and like I won that belt. I was the first skinny lanky guy who won that.
Yeah.
But I think that's not really important. Like it's good
It's very good.
for your wall, like for your ego. I think it's more important to pass on
Yeah.
knowledge and like help women, children, old people, everyone.
Yeah.
Like I think jiu-jitsu can help everyone.
Yeah.
That's what I really want to do.
Yeah.
Like just change people's lives.
And if we all wonder like, oh, when's things gonna change? When things gonna get better?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know, and we can't say or do anything about that. But what we can do is take what we know, take
Mhm.
our part, and just pass it on, pass
Yeah.
it along. Like just, you know, and that's what they say often in like American wrestling circles as well. Like, you know, just pass it on, just pass it along. And Chael says that. I love Chael on it.
Yeah, I love Jitsu. Best banter.
Oh.
Like he's like God level.
Goat. Yeah,
Like,
no one's better.
His banter is so amazing. Like
No one's better.
have you heard his like when he was like dissing Wanderlei Silva, like
Yeah.
about like
Oh,
dentists and like do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Like,
Like
didn't-
it's a big threat. Like,
like in Brazil, I don't know. There was like a witch doctor every like waving a fishbone. Like the Chael Sonnen is like on another level. Like,
yeah, I swear.
yeah,
Dude, he got that number one contender fight. He won against I think that American guy, I forget his name. And then like Joe Rogan's like, that was an amazing performance. What do you have to say about yourself for the next fight, man? And then he like puts the mic in front of him, and then Chael like just completely ignores his question. He's waiting, just like bated breath. He's like, Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck.
and somebody
then
puts
the
a hand on like Alice Silva.
yeah, and he's like going on.
Yeah.
Everybody goes crazy. Chael's is the best on the mic ever.
You remember what he said about New York? Like there's this, I think it was Joe Rogan, and he was like, so Chael, amazing dominant performance, like what do you think? He's like comes out, he's like, God damn, I hate New York. Like, in New York.
He's in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
in
in New York.
Bellator. Yeah,
That's
that's
chill
next
son.
level. That's
Dude.
chill son,
Yeah.
dude. Bro, I know you're not in Lahore often. I
Yes.
hope you move here permanently because I think there's a lot of
Inshallah.
stuff for you to do here. Inshallah.
I mean,
But for the time being, every time that you're here, I need you to tell me that not a goli baz, by the way.
I agree.
Yeah?
You
Settled?
you have like
Settled?
legit a legit tight schedule. I believe you. I believe you.
Not at all. But every time you're here next, I really want you in because this has been such a breeze to talking. There's so many details in all of this story that you told today. This
Yeah.
story, we communist. A story that you
Our
told.
story.
Our story. So many gaps that I still want to fill. Story. So many like little points and people that I want to discuss, and also just the bands, man. And bring these bad boys next time as well, please. Just gonna put him on for the outro. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the #1 mixed martial arts show in Pakistan. This has been the way in. This has been Danillah Mirza. And the last segment of the podcast is always dedicated to the guest. So in his Oni mask, Mateen, Abdul Mateen, take it away, my friend.
Omaewa. Mo Shinder. Nani?
I love that. That has got to be the greatest sum up message of all time. From me to you, what do I always say? It's a couple of things. It's not that complicated. It's subscribe, it's like, it's leave a comment, say something nice, and make sure you don't think twice. From me to you, all I gotta say every time, despite, please just keep it tight and stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Woo!
And seize the means of production, please. Please, someone. Do it already.